Welcome to Search Talk Live with search engine optimization and marketing experts Robert O'Haver and Caleb McKelvin, powered by the Robert Palmer family of companies.
We are here today to talk geek with you about digital marketing, SEO, search engine optimization, search engine marketing, or even social media. We can pretty much cover the gambit. It could be also Google Analytics, any specific things like that, AdWords, Bing, that type of thing. But I'm Robert O'Haver, 13-year veteran in SEO and search engine marketing. With me today is Caleb McKelvin.
What's up, Rob?
Caleb, how you doing today?
Doing pretty good, man. Doing really good. I'm glad Miss Erica has died down a little bit. The tropical storm, hurricane, whatever you want to call it. So, doing good, man. Beautiful Tuesday here in Florida.
I thought we were going to get to skip a show this week.
I thought, and I was getting a little worried that we were going to be running for cover, but seem to be doing okay.
Yeah. Well, today the topic's going to be about, we're going to kind of recap on everything we've done so far from episode 1 to now. Last week we had a couple guests on the show. It was so much fun. I wish they were here every time.
It was awesome. Last week's show was awesome. What I really liked about last week's show, Rob, was that, Tom and Dan, they're already radio personalities. They got their podcasts and everything. Everybody knows them. They're really funny guys. Their show's really good. And, we wanted to bring them on, and they wanted to liven up the show a little bit, which I think they did. They were awesome at. And, I know we learned a lot from how you really, do one of these things. But once we really got into the meat of the show, they were asking some really, really good questions. And it turned into, being funny to we were actually talking some actual digital marketing, which was really fun.
It was great.
So we really appreciate those guys coming on. And, hopefully we can have them again sometime, but no, it was an awesome show.
Yeah, and those of you, I want to give them a little plug because they were awesome. And their show, they have a live show here in Orlando, 2 shows actually, but one is the Corporate Time with Tom and Dan on 104.1. The other one is they have a podcast. I highly suggest you go check it out.
Oh yeah,
if you
definitely.
Want some entertainment? It's tomanddan.com. Those guys were just hilarious. They had me in stitches the whole time.
yeah, it was really good. But it was an awesome show to listen to. I mean, it wasn't just all fun and games. If you do go back and listen to it, there was actually they were asking some really, really awesome questions, especially about Facebook ads, YouTube, how to market yourself and stuff like that. And I think there was some good discussion. Yeah.
And I think that's a topic we can dig into that we really haven't touched on. We didn't get to touch on it too much last week. It was YouTube.
Yeah.
How to optimize YouTube.
Yeah.
I've done quite a bit of those. I actually rank quite high for some really competitive stuff on YouTube, and can give some insight there. I put this show on there for everybody to listen to because I have quite a few followers, and we also I do some videos. I haven't done any videos in a while, but the key to the whole thing, and it's very simple if you understand, is there's probably four different really highly important things when it comes to YouTube videos. A is the picture that you put up as your what do you call it?
Your profile picture?
Yeah. So like if you're not your profile picture, the picture on the video, like if you're looking at it from a mobile device, you see the picture there, or it's just kind of a preview of what the thing is.
Well, that instantly catches somebody's eye.
Right.
They're like, well, is this worth actually watching? And a really like creative picture that's going to be a little intriguing and kind of be like, well, I really want to know what this video is about. You're right. That's a really important aspect.
And kind of like Tom and Dan, what they were talking about is having a picture of a really hot girl in a bikini. That's a clickbait.
That can work for a certain audience. That's for sure.
But you want to make it an interesting image so that it looks quite, inviting.
Yeah.
And then I would say most important is the title. The title of the video. And one thing you can do to figure out what your title should be is look on YouTube and do searches for different keyword phrases. So if you're an SEO person, or you're showing somebody how to put together a IKEA table or something like that, look for those search terms and look what's getting the most views, and that can also dictate what your video is about. If you see X video is getting 2 views in over a long span, or you see another video that's got 30,000 views in 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
that gives you an idea of what their title looks like and what they have or as far as elements go.
Yeah.
And that can give you a topic to do your video on, or you can, if you already have your video, and it can give you a good idea of how to title it so that it gets good search. The other thing that gets missed a lot and people get lazy with, and sometimes I'm guilty of that too, but the description. YouTube gives you a description on the bottom of each video. Now, just almost like in SEO on OnPage SEO, you want to talk about what the video is about, what the content you're offering, whether it be, like I said, building an IKEA table or whatever. You just want to be descriptive about the video as much as you can, because Google indexes that stuff.
Well, I mean, the one thing is video, you have to utilize videos. Honestly, no matter what industry or niche that you're in, honestly, because people really, that's something that people actually are attracted to. They're attracted to video. They're attracted to something that they can watch, and it's not going to be a waste of time. It's something that's interactive. It's something where if it is instructional, or even if it is creative, if it's fun, if it's funny, whatever it may be, it's that piece of quality content that I think users really enjoy. And so no matter what you're doing, just having that video concept, having that on your website, using your YouTube channel, that's just, you're going to reach a totally different audience of people that actually use that. But I think you have that interactive quality content aspect that you're really searching for.
Right. And the more detailed it is, the better it's going to rank. So, obviously you want to make sure it's very relevant to what your video is. You don't want to just be, kind of spammy or anything like that, but you can put links in there. They are no follow links. But hang on, we never gave out the phone number.
Oh, give that thing out, man.
If you got questions and you want to ask us, or a topic you want to talk about to do with digital marketing as a whole or anything, just call in. The number is 855-722-0006. Again, the number is 855-722-0006. We'd love to get your call. We'd love to answer your questions. If we don't have the answer, we will get back to you in the next show, or we'll look it up while we're sitting here talking. But in most cases, we can answer the question.
Call in, and it doesn't have to be on topic either. I know we preach that all the time. Whatever questions you have, digital marketing, SEO, content marketing, link building, whatever it may be, call on in.
Yeah, but it's all about staying relevant. I'm just kidding. We don't want to hear your relationship advice or anything like that. Yeah.
I got some good stuff, though. If you really want to know, I got some good stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so where was I? We were talking about the description. So make sure that description, you can put links to your website in there. That's a good place to get links. Now, like we said before, they're no follow links, but it's a link, and
which does pass a little juice.
Yeah, we haven't got an official word on that, but yeah.
It does. I'm going to go ahead and say that when building these links, everybody's like, no follow. If it's no follow, it's worth nothing. First of all, it's important to have a diverse set of links in your backlink profile. Right. And, they say, well, if it's a no follow link, it doesn't matter. I don't necessarily think that is true. I know we haven't gotten an official word on it, but just because it's a no follow link doesn't mean it's necessarily bad. I do think that there's, it has a little bit of recognition and weight on it. So don't think that just because it's a no follow link that it's terrible. Of course, you want that follow link on that authority site, but the
way I look at it, is if you go into the Webmaster Console, what is it? Search Console.
Console. Yeah.
Or Webmaster Tools, previously
they'll change the name next week too.
Yeah. If it's in that section where it says links to your site, and that shows up in that report, that tells me, why would you, if it's not worth anything,
why
would
are you
reporting
it?
Exactly.
Yeah. And they do report it. And that's why links, man, it'll keep me up at night, honestly, like everything they say about link building and stuff like that. So, if you do see a no follow, don't say, well, that's worthless. They recognize it, whatever tool you're going to use, and it'll show your backlinks. You'll see it.
Yeah. Also, that, kind of like what John Mueller was touching on before, when you get links to your site, if it makes sense and it promotes your site, YouTube, if you're doing videos and you come across as an authority, then people are going to want to know who you are, where you're from, what's your business,
Absolutely.
that type of thing. And that's an authority thing as far as you I can't tell you how many clients I've gotten just off of my YouTube channel, just talking about, how to do this or what to do. And it's not me promoting myself, because I'm sure you guys, if you've listened to me for a while or followed me on Twitter, I never promote anything on my thing, if it's monetary or anything like that. But I do all this. So does Caleb. We do this together to help other people. So, it's an authority thing.
Yeah.
So if you're an authority on a certain niche or thing, heck yeah, you want to have your link from YouTube to your website.
Absolutely. And you're right. It's all about building yourself as an authority within your industry. It's all recognizable, and people recognize where they have seen certain brands. And if they see your brand, if they see, anything, whatever you got going on YouTube, on these different authority sites, they're going to remember that. And they're going to say, if they're looking for a specific thing, they're going to be like, oh, well, they do this. They have these videos on YouTube. They have this type of content. They're doing this. They're sharing this. Let me go check them out again. Let me see what they're doing. Who's checking them out, and you're just going to keep having that brand recognition with your audience. And that's something that's very, very important, because getting those return visitors, getting those people that are going to view you as an authority, it can be difficult, especially if you're a smaller site, if you're a smaller business, it can be very difficult. So that's just another platform where you can have and build your authority and build your brand and have more eyes on it.
Yeah, I think it's important to put those links there because, think about it. Do you put a commercial on TV without putting a phone number?
Yeah. No.
or information on how to contact you? It's the same thing.
Yeah, it definitely is the same thing. And, and there's nothing bad that's going to come from it. Of course, you don't want to be spammy or anything, but if you do add those links, then, you're providing that channel. If people are watching your content on YouTube, if they're finding you, you're just giving them that channel to come to your site and see what you got going on.
Right. Number to call in is 855-722-0006. Again, that number is 855-722-0006. We'd love to hear from you. Give us a call. Another thing I've been diving into lately, it's kind of exciting for me because, I'm starting to see some things, and it's an extremely good signal for local businesses. Is schema.org.
Mm-hmm.
I've been playing with that a lot this week, and I actually, in the short time it's been up there, I'm starting to see some results. I did it for rpfunding.com, and it's seeing some great things happen. So, it's another signal to let Google know where you're at and what it's all about. And what I'll do is when I put this up on YouTube, I will put a link or an image of what the schema markup looks like, and you can get an idea, maybe change it with your information or whatever, so you can put it on your website. But yeah, it's good stuff, especially for local businesses.
Yeah, it's definitely something that needs to be used. And for those of you that don't know what schema is, correct me if I'm wrong, Robert, it's where they can recognize audio files, video files on your website.
Yeah, it's a way of marking up information that describes what your site's about, what kind of organization you are, if you're a financial institution or you're a Joe Schmo on the corner store or whatever it is. And then, you can mark up, basic information about your company, a description. You can mark up videos, audio files, all that stuff, and it helps Google understand, because some of that stuff, such as videos, Google has a hard time understanding what those videos are, because they don't, they obviously don't sit there and watch the videos when they spider your site so, putting that information in there will help those videos rank. So, I don't know how many times you do it, but I live on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm doing stuff around the house and I need to know how to do like electrical work or build a shelf, or Google, YouTube has been fantastic for that.
Yeah, no, definitely.
So Yeah, and now going back to that, if your description is very detailed and make it about a good paragraph or two long, taking the time to do that will get you a lot of views. Now, you're not going to get rich on YouTube if you're using like AdSense or anything like that. I think I've got close to 800 followers now on YouTube, and I probably get, I don't mind sharing this, but maybe $20 a month.
Anything helps, man.
Yeah. So you're not going to get rich anytime soon. But, it's all about helping people, though. But now, on the next thing that's really important is the tags. In the tags, you want to make sure you can put your keywords in there. You can put, kind of a small description, a phrase that describes what the video is about, and fill that up as many things as you can. I mean, don't make it spammy, but make it pertinent, relevant to your video.
Yeah,
those things will help a lot, and make sure that another thing that's important is that you categorize it right. If it's a how-to video, put it in maybe education, or because you don't want to put it in, there's a how-to and style version or category. You don't want that. I learned that the hard way. And then there's other ways that YouTube actually offers you to promote your videos for free. That you can put little tags in there so that when people are watching your video, it says, "Hey, preview this other video if you like this one." So there's all kinds of things you can do to monetize. If you have over 1,000 followers, there's other people other companies out there will pay you for advertising.
Yeah,
as long as it's unique content. So,
well, one of the things, Robert, is I think a lot of people, they want to use YouTube, but they don't necessarily know like what they should be putting on. What can you be making videos of? How can you utilize YouTube? What type of content can you put on there? And I think a lot of people fall into this kind of, there's nothing I can put. Maybe I'm just a content site. I don't know what to do. Or I'm too busy to do it, or it's too difficult, something of that nature. I think a lot of people fall into that. And, it's really, really, really not that difficult to come up with ideas. I know for content sites, one of the things I like to do, if you do a step-by-step, if you do something of that nature, you can turn that into a video, whether, just having short clips of whatever you're describing, short clips of whatever you're talking about. And if you're saying that you need to do this, or here's how you do that, that can easily be turned into a content video. You can really get creative with it. I'll throw a site out there. BuzzFeed does an awesome thing with videos.
Oh, yeah.
They're really great at it, and they're really funny. You can get funny with it. It all depends on your audience, on who you're reaching out to and what you're doing. Another thing to do is whatever kind of site you are, you can do an interview on a Google Hangout. You can do a video interview of you speaking with someone, an authority figure on whatever topic it may be. And, people like that kind of stuff. I know in SEO, we watch videos on that every day. You've done a lot of them, with, we'll plug in Moz again because that's what we do here. With
I think we need to hit them up for sponsor.
Yeah, I'm telling you, with Mr. Fishkin over there at Moz, that was an awesome insight on the outlook for SEO in 2015. I know that's gotten a bunch of views. I've watched it a couple of times just to see what they have to say or what he has to say about it. And you can get a lot of knowledge. So, you might be thinking, well, I'm just a content site. We just produce content. I really don't think we can make a video. There's a lot of things that you can do and get creative with it. Know your audience, know what they're looking for. Turn some of your content into a video, make a funny video, an instructional video, have an interview. I know one thing I like to do through content is interview professors. Professors like to speak. That's something they really, really, really like to do. And they like to be put as an authority figure as much as they can, and being interviewed, and then on having that interview on somebody else's website is an awesome one. And people and professors really like to do that, and it's really simple to do one of those hangouts. So those are really some content ideas that you can do for your YouTube channel and put that on your website as well.
But you don't have to be an expert. I mean, you can. Everybody's got a smartphone nowadays.
Yeah.
I mean, you can sit there and just pull out your smartphone and almost do like a selfie.
Yeah. We shoot video all the time. It's not like you have to have this whole movie set and all this other stuff. you can get real creative with it and use some simple tools and
sheet for a backdrop, whatever.
Yeah, whatever you may want to use.
But I mean, it's all about. And some people actually, I mean, most people kind of appreciate that raw look to a video.
Yeah, they do.
And also inside YouTube, there's a video editor. There's you can add pieces and intros, outros if you want to, and they have license-free music, so you can download some music to put to it. It's very simple to use. It takes a little practice, but once you get it down, and the key to being successful, if you want to be like a PewDiePie or something like that, I don't know if there's going to be too many of those around, but there is being consistent. Like if you want to do videos every week, you need to be consistent. Like do it every single week, certain day of the week, so your listeners know to come back every week. And then those followers, obviously you want to have a good social media presence so you can share that stuff. Those things will make your videos start to pick up and gain listeners and followers. If you're consistent with it for a good year. Now, if I don't practice do as I teach, not as I do.
Do as I say, not as I do.
But if you are consistent and you do it for a good year, you can make a pretty good income if your videos are interesting. Something like what we do is very nichey and you have to be a geek to listen to it.
Yeah.
And you know who you are.
You know who you are.
But, if you have something interesting, like I have a friend that I work with that does, gossip and celebrity gossip, that type of stuff. She does really well with it. And she's very good on camera. And you don't even have to be good on camera because that comes with time and practice. But, if you're in a certain niche, it doesn't matter what you do. You could be knitting. You could show people how to knit, it doesn't matter. Anything you can possibly that you do other than, if it's digital or something that you can't physically show how to do, but you can even do that. Actually. So, there's no excuse. You can try it. You can use your cell phone. You can use a video camera if you have one. You name it.
Yeah. 855-722-0006. That's the phone number to call in, 855-722-0006. Digital Duo Show with Rob and Caleb. Rob, I think you hit on an important aspect as far as you have to be consistent with it. I know a lot of the video content that does really well, either they do it on a weekly basis, some of them, which a lot of us can't do, is on a daily basis. They just have a team dedicated to doing that, and it's really cool. But on a weekly basis, I think is something that is really, really important to keep in mind. For one, I think it gives your audience something to look forward to, because if you're consistent with it, you always want that returning audience. You always want to build that relationship. You always want to give them something to invest in. I think a weekly video of whatever it may be, will give them something to like, oh, it's Monday, I need to go check out what kind of video they put up, or it's Friday, I got some time at the nobody wants to work on Friday, everybody trying to waste some time. They want to go check out and see what you're doing, that week, what cool video they have going on, what instructional, what can I learn today, kind of thing. So having that weekly consistency will allow your audience to invest their time. They'll build that relationship with your website and your content. And for one, right there, you have more shares, more views on your social media and on your website. So that's something to really, if you're like, well, I need more traffic to my site, or I'm just not getting the audience loyalty that I really want, that something like that could really help as far as build those relationships and have that audience coming back on a weekly basis.
Exactly. And that, I don't know how to stress this, but consistency is the key. Like repetition, doing it every week, same day, and being consistent with that, you will start to gain a following. And then every time you put out a new video, those people that follow you will get a notification. Like I just started seeing recently in the last 6 months that when I put out a video, I automatically have a certain group of people that will always go to those videos and watch them as soon as I put them out. Yeah. It's fantastic. But as you build that group and then you get in the thousands of people watching you, then that's when your revenue stream starts showing up, because then you get in the thousands and thousands of views. And if you do your research before you do your videos, you can find topics that get thousands and millions of hits, and work something out like that. And you'll be surprised when Google promotes that for free, how that starts to go viral.
Yeah, I mean, you'll see videos show up sometimes at the top results. They'll pop up the video right there, and having something like that go viral, which is really crazy to me, what videos go viral and what don't.
Yeah.
I mean, you see some crazy stuff, you're just like, I get it, it's a little funny, or why do people watch this, or why do people find that funny? It can be difficult to pinpoint what's actually going to go viral, what's going to catch people's interest, and what's going to get them sharing. But that's just going to have to be a trial and error basis. Sometimes you get lucky and you hit the nail on the head, and boom, it takes off. Sometimes you're like, oh, this video is awesome, and you get one share, and your feelings are hurt, because trust me, I've been there, and my feelings did get hurt. I was like, why is nobody sharing this video? It's awesome. But if you stay consistent, at some point you're going to get people really be like, oh, this is actually, this is something I need to watch. This is something I need to share. So don't get discouraged if you do put that time in and you do it on a weekly basis and you don't get a great response. You just got to analyze and assess what you're doing, maybe what your competitors are doing, what is going viral, what's happening, and kind of adjust your situation. And
you can also not just look on YouTube, but you can go and see what's trending in articles or subjects, almost like what you'd do as if you were a content writer.
Yep.
You go on Google and find out what's trending, what's being shared a lot, find out what's getting the most shares and what topic it is.
Yeah.
Then you could throw a video together, and guess what? That's unique. It's not going to be the same as what that other video was. So that's another way you can find topics to do your videos on.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, we're halfway through the show. The number here is 855-722-0006. The number again is 855-722-0006. We're talking about right now YouTube and how to be successful on there. I think we've covered pretty much on that, but
we've covered a lot of it.
But you want to make sure, I would say the two main important things is the image and the title that you have on your video.
Yeah.
Because that's what's going to make a person click through to watch it. So most people on there are going to be on a mobile phone. So you're going to see those images as you're scrolling through. And if you have a good catchy title and a crazy image, or something that just catches the eye and makes them want to click, and that's where the talent comes in. You have to kind of you get better at that as you go. I had a really boring video of mine on the Google Panda algorithm that I did, and I was getting no views. And I went through in Photoshop and I put two little pandas. You'll probably see it on my YouTube channel if you go there. But I put a little panda looking over my shoulder and a panda looking, off to the side of me.
Cute little pandas.
And my views are up to like 10,000 now.
That's crazy.
For that one video.
Are you sure it's not you, Rob?
No, definitely not. So, it's all about, that tells you right there that, that image is huge.
Yeah.
And it also makes things, the more clicks it gets, the more it rises up in YouTube.
Well, that's just kind of the story of SEO and digital marketing.
Sure.
I think, Rob, is that titles and descriptions, what are you doing to catch the audience's eye? And that is really kind of somewhat what it all boils down to.
Because it rolls back to your website.
It's what are you doing to catch their eye, in the search results, in your titles, in your descriptions. And that's kind of why being boring with it, it might sound good. It's like an interview. You say all the right things and, you make it sound really good. But when you listen to it, it's like really boring, but you really want to speak the language. You want to speak your mind. Speak your mind, get creative with it. Don't kind of be all boring with the title and 5 steps to do this and all that kind of stuff. You want to get people intrigued. You want to get them engaged with your content. And, even if I'm scrolling through and it's not really something that I'm looking for, but the title and description are really, catchy or whatever it may be, I'll click on it just to see, because it's got that creativity to it. So that's something that you really need to invest your time in, is really how are you writing these titles? How are you writing descriptions and stuff you've already written, the pages you have, the posts you have on your website? I think it's really, really important to go back and analyze them and look at them and you know, just read them out to yourself and just say, would anybody actually want to look at this? Would anybody actually want to read this? Would anybody want to click on it? And, you know, be honest with yourself, and you might need to change some things up.
Yeah. I mean, kind of like what Caleb said, and you touched on a very good point, is it's important to, you know, carry that kind of same mentality with those videos as you do to your website.
Yeah.
Make that page title descriptive and you know, catchy. I mean, obviously you don't have images, you don't have the image rich snippets anymore for that, but you do have if you have an excellent title and a great description of your site, and make it descriptive so it's very understandable, and maybe, you know, tantalizes the person a little bit to want to click and go to your site.
Right.
So, you know, it's the same thing.
Absolutely.
But let's go back and we kind of let's do a high level SEO, kind of the stuff we've talked about here in the past, and just kind of a warm, just kind of refresher to go over everything. So let's go with on-page optimization real quick. Number one, just kind of like since it kind of segues into what we were talking about already with titles. You know, your titles you want to stay, you know, under, I say 58 because of the difference in text, but you know, you can go all the way up to like probably 64 max, and that'll get cut off. But 60 is probably the safe zone without getting your title cut off on Google.
Yeah. And I think one thing with the title to remember is you don't have to plug it with keywords, like
right.
exact match keywords. One thing you do need to remember is that the search engines do a really good job of noticing variations of a keyword and noticing that it's relevant to what people are searching for. So, you know, like I think you used this when we did talk about this, boat and ship. Right. You know, people know if you are looking to rank for boat, yet you have, you know, ship and other things in the title and description, it can put two and two together. And
those relationships.
Yeah, it knows the relationship between them, and, you know, how descriptive you are of the content that it's pointing to is really important, but don't think you have to plug everything in with exact match keywords. And okay, if I do that, if I put it at the front of the title, I'm going to rank for it and I'll shoot up and people are going to see me in search results. That's not always necessarily the case. You can go search for something, and I guarantee you the front page, there's going to be at least half of them that have a variation of that keyword. It's just the content's good, the description is really good, and you know, it's very relevant to what people are searching for. So exact match keyword is I wouldn't say it's completely out the door, but it goes back to you're not writing these for search engines, you're writing them for the user.
Amen, brother. Now, you know what, and this is kind of a practice I do when I'm doing AdWords. What I'll do is I'll Google the keyword and look at the ads.
Yeah.
Look at the competition. What is their ads like? You know, do the same thing for SEO. If you're you know, you're selling janitorial services or whatever, do a search for it in, you know, Orlando, Florida, wherever you're at. And then look at those different the titles that show up in the snippets. Look at the ones that are ranking, you know, first and how they wrote their descriptions.
Yeah.
That'll give you a great idea where to start. And you obviously don't want to have the exact same title in your title for your page, but you do want to have, you know, if you've done your keyword research and you're really, you know what your keywords are, try to include a keyword in there or a phrase.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that, as long as it's descriptive and it's, you know, it's not, you know, that old joke of the SEO walks into, what is it? An SEO walks into a, never mind. I don't remember.
I know
anyway.
what you're talking
it's a joke.
about.
But, yeah, total geek. But, just, you know, make sure it's descriptive of what's on that page.
Yeah.
Don't try to cram it full of, you know, multiple keywords, because you really don't want to rank for more than 2 words per page anyway.
Yeah.
Now, you know, if it's your home page, then you can get into more detail in your meta description, talking about your services, or you can go into your content and really dig into it.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, your next thing is your meta description. that should be, you should have your keyword in there. But one, maybe two instances. I take that back. One instance of your keyword phrase.
Yeah.
Because it's only 164 characters. Think of it as Twitter. If you're writing a Twitter post, it's 140. So just try to keep it in that.
Yeah.
But, so make that as descriptive as possible as to what is on that homepage. If you're talking about all your different services or whatever, try to include it in that and include that keyword in there in a phrase. Now, another variation, now we get to your H1 tags. Now what that is it's the description, the title, not a description, the title of what you're offering. So if you're offering SEO services in Orlando, maybe it's, and your title is something different. You want to, say your title is SEO services Orlando, Florida, something like that. Then, maybe that H1 tag would be search engine optimization in Orlando or SEO company Orlando. You don't want it to be the same, but you want it to be a variant of what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And what's on the page.
Yeah, you don't want it flooded with the same keyword over and over and over and over and over again. And just type, you might not even recognize that you're doing it, and you should be proofreading all of your content. And if you recognize that you're saying the same thing over and over and over again, find variations of that word, find variations of that key phrase to use. I think you're exactly right, Rob. People have their title of the page, and then their header will be the same exact thing as their title.
Right.
And then their H2, will be the same exact thing as their title. And, just to kind of like pound that keyword phrase home. Right. And that's not something you need to be doing.
It needs to be a variation. And then once you get into the content, you want to try and keep that phrase, that phrase that you're trying to rank for, put it in the first two paragraphs, put it once, maybe twice. That'll help a lot. But then at that point, don't use that keyword anymore. Use variations of that keyword. Talk about that, whatever you offer in different ways. Kind of like the analogy that Caleb was using a while ago about the ships and boats type of thing. So if you're selling ships, and Google knows that a boat is a ship, or vice versa. You know what I mean? Or if you're talking about a certain model car. They know Ford Explorer and Ford Ranger are both part of Ford. They have great, relationship data there but anyway.
Yeah.
I need to stay away from those analogies.
You're the analogy killer.
Yeah. No, you should have heard one I came up with yesterday. After I said it, I was like, what? Never mind. Didn't know. Anyway, the number to call is 855-722-0006. We've got about 20 minutes. You want to call in with your topic or question you may have for me or Caleb. Again, the number is 855-722-0006. Now, when it gets into content, this is where it really, you're really wanting to do, your signals, with everything we just talked about. You want to have those signals. If you're a local business, and say, I'm going to use Orlando because that's where I'm at. If you're a local business in Orlando, you can have, and you do business, say, all over Central Florida. If you have Orlando, it's not going to limit you, it's going to limit you to an extent. But, if somebody in Tampa is looking for something, merchandise for, that's a bad example. Say you're a restaurant and you're in Orlando, but a guy in Lake Mary, Florida, which is a metro area of Orlando, looks for a specific kind of the Italian restaurant, and you're an Italian restaurant in Orlando, you're still going to come up because, a lot of people make that mistake of not using those what do you call them? Citations in the city that you're in. And it's so extremely important because Google gets an idea, and that's along with like what I was talking about earlier with rich snippets. Anything that you can give a signal of where you are is fantastic if you're a local business.
Absolutely.
In doing things like rich snippets or geotags in your website, those type of things all help Google understand where you're at, as well as your address. And then there's even meta tags for GPS location, which is quite interesting. And that can be used for mobile. So, if you have a mobile website. Let's see, what else? What I was saying about the content on the site. It's very important that you dot your I's and cross your T's, make sure all the spelling's on top, you're on top of all of that. Don't be spammy, and make sure that, anytime you put content on your site, whether it's 2 paragraphs long or, make sure you offer something as a, solve the problem or answer the question that the person's doing a search for. Because Google is huge on answering questions. And I don't know if you guys noticed, but Google has the knowledge graph now, and is grabbing snippets from different websites just because they want to answer that question.
Yeah.
And they also give citation for whatever site they pulled it from.
That's an authority signal right there.
No kidding.
That's huge. If they're seeing you as, oh, well, we're going to provide this information for this answer from this site, that means that that's hey, these guys are the real deal. And so that's why having that quality content, and just like you said, solving the problem or answering the question is very, very important.
Yeah. If it doesn't have value on your site, don't put it on there.
No.
If you're pulling in a feed or something from let's say you're a real estate agent, if that page where it gives the results, make sure you put content above that, because those things are all copied content basically. I mean, it is, but it's not something you're going to get penalized on because Google understands this. But what you should do is put some unique content above that to make your page stand out more than the others. And that will help you a lot.
Yeah. And we've seen that a lot to where they have that feed or they have something on their website that they're getting, but it's just that. There's no description of what's on the page. There's no content on the page, and you're really, really hurting that page. And the thing is, it might be just adding that content might just boost the quality so much. And, so if you do have pages like that on your site, it's that you're really hurting yourself, because adding that quality content, is just going to be a huge advantage.
Yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot of, trying to rank for Orlando real estate agent is almost impossible. But a lot of the problem that real estate agents have, and it's nothing against their agency or whatever, but a lot of them don't build their own personal site. And in my own theory is that if you were to make, your listings unique instead of pulling from a MLS, I know that would be quite difficult to do, but maybe if you had an assistant or something, a writer, write unique descriptions on your property or whatever, you would be surprised.
Yep.
How that would make you rank. And you may even rank for that, Orlando real estate agent, whatever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the search engine's just so used to seeing the same thing over and over.
Yeah. So, it would
again.
Spotlight.
Just having something different like that would be like, oh, wow. Okay. Well, these guys are doing something different and unique.
Yeah.
Let's show them, because, this is actual quality. This isn't the same thing over and over again.
Yeah. And I know I use real estate, but that could go for anything.
Yeah.
If you're pulling in feeds, or you're in like an e-commerce site or something where an affiliate marketer or something where you're pulling in content, selling somebody else's product, again, do your own unique description of the product. Those things right there will make a huge difference. You want to make more money, then Google, as an affiliate, Google, looks at these things. They see, oh yeah, they're just pulling in feeds for different products.
Right.
If they see that product has a different description, they're going to index that, and they're going to rank it higher because it's unique. It's different from anybody else's.
Yeah.
Because then they're like, oh, there's something that somebody's going to actually benefit from.
Right. And I know, just since we're on the topic of real estate agents, I mean, what better way to get a lead or gain business when they do search for something specific that, one of the other ones like Zillow or something like that doesn't pop up, you actually pop up.
Right.
And it's on your page, and they're like, okay, it's on their page. Let's give them a call.
How amazing would that be?
I mean, there you go right there. I know it might take a little bit more effort, but I mean, just think of the benefits that could come from that. Just putting in that, it might take some time. like you said, if you got some help, just sitting down and doing that kind of thing, they're seeing the listing, they're seeing that property on your website, and instead of having to see it on another website, and they said, oh, okay, we'll contact another agent or contact, who do you want to contact for an agent? You're actually right there. Contact me.
Right. And think about also, like, if you're a person looking to buy a house, and I think you're getting ready to buy a house, right?
Oh,
when you were shopping for a house, everybody has the same exact description of those houses, and it being unique, that would be huge for you.
Yep.
Or not you, but the realtor.
But the realtor. I don't have any advantages. And you can actually
possibly compete against those, those big Zillows and, that type of thing.
Yeah, and just having it on your site, there's so many benefits. You can have that personal interaction, you're just right there. You got that personal interaction with them. And so it's something to think about, seriously think about. So
Yep.
Show.
So I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
But
I try to contribute a little bit.
So now we're going to go into, code. The loading of your website, the speed of your website is, probably up there in the top 10 most important things as an SEO factor.
Yeah. It's a ranking factor.
It's a huge ranking factor. I have taken sites from 6 seconds to 2.5, 3 seconds and jumped probably 20 points or 20 positions in Google search. That's huge. And that put me on first page.
It's all about that user experience.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Yep. And then the other thing is obviously mobile. Now, mobile's not going to help you rank in the sense that you might think, but as far as if it's a site where you're either mobile or not friendly or not, you're obviously going to come up more, because it kind of filters out. You might, if you're extremely relevant to what that search is for done on mobile, you'll still probably show up.
Yeah.
But, given the comparison, those two, you're probably going to rank higher than, a site that's not mobile friendly. That also brings back to, I need to back up a little bit because user experience.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's a really important thing, both on mobile and desktop. You might have a great website on desktop, but when you get to a mobile version of that site, it's just horrible. Some cases, it's just you can't navigate it, and that's a factor as well. So,
yeah. And people are using mobile now more than ever. I don't think that's kind of like a shocker from anybody. It's going mobile, or it's gone mobile. It's staying mobile, and then mobile is just going to get bigger as we move forward. And so, a really bad mobile site can really hurt you. And I've been on some bad mobile sites, and, I'm like, oh, well, okay, never want to go back to that one. And so, mobile is huge, and just optimizing for mobile is something that you have to focus on if you haven't already. Because with social media, with everything that's going on, everybody's going mobile.
Yeah, I think the sites that are the slowest at converting their sites and getting, up to the times are the e-commerce sites because of their shopping carts.
Yeah.
And all that stuff. And it's so important to get that stuff, updated. Your website must be constantly updated. Probably every 5 years is a good shelf life for a website. And if you're not mobile friendly and you're getting over, 30-40% of traffic, then you really need to get that that site up to par so that, those people can experience that site in a way.
Absolutely.
I think we have a call here. No, we don't have a call. No. Okay, sorry.
Well, if you want to call in, 855-722-0006, 855-722-0006. Call on in with questions, concerns, comments.
Yeah. Mobile is extremely important. And now Google says, it's not that they have a preference, but they say to use a responsive site more than they would say use like a jQuery or something like that, because with a jQuery site you're updating two pages for each page you have, one mobile, one desktop version. So with a responsive, it's only one template, and it molds and shapes to whatever device you're on.
Yeah.
So they prefer you to use that because because there is so many issues that you can mess up, doing the updates and making everything work together so it doesn't cause errors or anything like that.
Yeah, just having that all-in-one responsive site is very helpful. It's much easier, and just things go over much smoother. So, yeah, that's definitely a huge one.
Yeah. And let's see. As far as user experience, you want to make sure, Caleb, and actually, I've actually seen some sites that are not mobile friendly, but work pretty well.
Yeah,
on mobile.
Yeah, I've seen those. I've actually used a couple of the big sports sites are like that, to where their websites actually looks really good on mobile.
Yeah,
and you might have to zoom in a little bit to click on something, but those are few and far between.
Yeah,
but there are
sure.
some. I'll admit that.
And then you want to make sure that also that you always keep up to date. If you're a e-commerce site, or keep your pages up to date. Like if you got a new offering, or you moved, or those things are all things that you need to watch for. Especially, I think going forward in the future, as far as your address changes and stuff like that, or if you you move your business, kind of like RP Funding, they actually moved 8 months ago.
Yeah.
They didn't move their website, but it's so important because what Google does is kind of the credibility thing, is they'll look at all the different citations in different places like Yelp and all those other different directories, and where you have your site listed with Google and all that stuff. If you don't change that information, then Google's like, I don't know about these people. So you want to make sure that you're on top of that stuff, and you go through and make sure all the phone numbers are correct and all the addresses are the same, because those are all off-page signals that Google looks at, and not only Google but Bing and all the other sites
search engines.
Yeah,
I mean, those local citations are basically giving search engines confidence in providing you as a result in this location. And so if you do relocate, updating those listings is so important, because sending mixed signals, they're like, well, I don't know who's who, so let's just kind of leave them off altogether and let me find somebody that I know is here providing this service in this business. And so having always tell companies and sites that your citations have to be consistent across the board, absolutely, with all contact information, because those are confidence points from Google saying, this is who we are, this is where we are, and so we need to provide this result for this certain search.
We got about 8 minutes left. We want to take your calls, so give us a call, 855-722-0006. Let me go a little slower, 855-722-0006. We will answer any of your questions or talk about any topics you want to talk about today.
Oh, yeah.
So call in. We got about 8 minutes left, so if you want to talk in the end of the show, it'd be great.
Come on.
We're doing a lot of talking here.
Come on with it.
But, the citations are not only important for search engines, but as a user.
Yeah.
If you go different places and you see they have different addresses, that makes you wonder, why is this person moving all the time, or that type of stuff. So it's a credibility thing. So not just for search engines, but, obviously you don't want to have, you move your website, and you want to make sure that's updated wherever you're at, and make sure those are redirected. If you don't, your old stuff is redirected to the new site. And then what else? Oh, obviously everybody should have, and we've talked about this before, but Search Console, which is previously known as Webmaster Tools, that is your communication between you and Google. And it's extremely important. So if there's any errors on your site, if there's pages missing, if there's, if your site's been hacked, you wouldn't know it unless you had something like this.
Yep.
So Google Search Console is very important. Every site owner should have one. Google Analytics, you should have that. You should be tracking everything, set up your goals, so if how your conversions are going, where your traffic's coming from. All that stuff's so important.
Yep. You can even track real time on who's on your site this very second, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. And, you might have to take Google actually has some free classes where you can take and learn analytics and actually get certified if you wanted to.
Which I highly recommend.
Yeah. And it's free. There's no cost. So I would at least go through it if you don't want to get certified, to at least learn the basics.
Yeah.
But we did in a previous episode go through and talk about Search Console and how to use it and some of the features and that type of stuff.
Yeah, if you look at the information yet can't interpret it or use it to your advantage, then it's a little pointless. So to learn what you're looking at and how you can properly use that information, will not waste your time. You'll actually be using your time wisely and creating good strategy as you move forward.
Caleb, this is kind of your topic here, so I want to give you the last 5 minutes to talk about how important backlinks and stuff.
Ooh, backlinks. Well, according to Mr. Google, you shouldn't be link building or having backlinks, or link building to get backlinks, which is crazy. But links are definitely an important factor for the reputation of your site, for the authority of your website. If you are getting natural links, organic links to your website, which I'm not going to lie can be difficult to do, then those are authority signals for Google to say, hey, people are actually linking to this content. It's quality content. It's a quality website. These are quality services. Then they need to be shown to others. And that's kind of how I look at it. And so, it's not going to jump your rankings, just drastically, and you're going to improve and be ranked number one. The more,
and it's quality, not
more
quantity.
Links yes, it is quality, not quantity. The old thing was, well, I'm going to build 500 this month through all these services and really build my backlink profile. And that's not really in. It's more like I'm going to get really 5 good quality links, on other websites linking to me. And that's actually more important than, say, you were to get 500 from some bad ones. So, building your backlink profile, it's something that does take time. If you do put quality content out there, if you do have a large audience, they'll come a little more easier. And, you can always check your backlink profile and say, oh, wow, and see people are actually linking to your site through their own content because they might be writing on something relative to what you're offering or what you have written about. And so quality content is, I know we keep hounding on it, but it's something that I think is going to really build your backlink profile. And they say you don't do outreach, but it's all in how you do, how you implement your outreach strategy. Going out and trying to beg for links is something you should never do. But
you should also look at it too as like, is it going to benefit, not from a ranking standpoint, but does the link benefit my company by them linking to me?
Right.
So that, just bring me traffic, bring me sales, those type of things.
How's it going to benefit you? And what's your end goal in gaining this link is something to also look at. If you are a content site, which is, if you want to build your own authority, maybe writing on another website that has high authority is something that's really good. But whenever you're looking to link to a site, always check out the reputation of that website. Always check out, how many visitors they get, what's their backlink profile, what's their domain authority, are they a reputable website before you even reach out to them? Because you can get an easy link somewhere. Somebody might be like, oh, yeah, come on, link to me. And, their site's really spammy. They could be setting themselves up for a penalty or anything of that nature. So, do link building. Don't overdo it. Don't go out of your way to buy links or anything of that. It's going to take a natural process, but it's definitely important.
I think that's our sign. You hear that music?
I hear it.
Man, guys, I thank everybody for your support in listening to the Digital Duo. We might most likely be changing our name here pretty soon because we found out there's another Digital Duo.
Rebranding.
So if you got any suggestions, please send us an email or message. But thanks again for listening. We'll see you next week.
Search Talk Live is a presentation of the Robert Palmer family of companies.